I think this is one of the biggest mental health, and I'll be challenged to say even physical health crises of our time is overthinking, perpetual thinking. I tell people thinking was meant for two things: planning and strategy. Planning and strategy. You know, I have other appointments this afternoon, so I had to think about how am I going to plan this day out. Okay, so before this interview, I need to have this done. So after the interview, I'm ready to do that. That's thinking. But I'm sitting here and I'm saying, gosh, you know, I just wish this would happen. Oh, why did that have to happen? Oh, they talked to me this way. I should have I should have responded that way. This is where most of our thinking is. Most of our thinking is not productive. Most of our thinking, again, is future focus, past focus, not planning, not strategy, but rehashing things that don't make us feel good. And we got to stop doing that, because the body doesn't know that, oh, she's just reflecting and thinking of this, so let's not insert these negative feelings, you know, let's not react to the anger that she's feeling about what was said to her last week, because she's just thinking about it. It's not happening. The body doesn't know that. It's going to react to that. And so again, part of being present is admitting to yourself, I'm too focused on just this thinking process. I'm not in the moment. I tell people, you know, thinking was supposed to be just a small part of our just existence. Again, for planning, for strategy. But so the major part of our existence was supposed to be just being present. I call it consciousness, conscious awareness, you know, being aware, being plugged in to your environment. So that was supposed to be the crust. Let's say 90% of our existence is supposed to be about being present, being aware. 10% of our existence is supposed to be, okay, let me plan this. Let me strategize how I'm going to do this. Let me organize. We flip the switch, I should say, or script, I should say. We flip the script. So we spend 90% of our time in our head thinking about stuff that really holds no relevance to our present moment. And we spend maybe, and this may be generous, honestly, in this society, 10% of our time just being present. And most of the time we spend being present is doing stuff that helps us to stay in this present state, but could be detrimental to us. So I talk how even overeating, when people overeat, that's an attempt to be present. It has nothing to do with food, you know, because when that first chip is going to taste the same that 20th chip did, right? But the reason you're having that 20th chip is because when you ate that first chip, guess what? You were present with the texture, the salt, the sound. Your senses were plugged in, the crunch, and it felt good because, oh my God, I'm not in my head. I'm present. I'm listening to the crunch of the chip. I'm tasting the saltiness of the chip. You know, I'm doing all of that, and you want to keep that alive. So let me get another one, and another. And another, and another. No one gets 100 pounds overweight because they just like food. And I'll argue anyone with that. A lot of that has to do with our desire to just be present. And I know, you know, that's what they call emotional eating, because it has nothing to do with emotions. It has, I want to just even change that label. It's called, you know, this is, and I'll come up with something better, but it's like just this attempt at consciousness, this attempt at just being present. And food does that, you know, drugs do that. I remember years ago when I had a patient, and she was like last patient of the night, and we were walking out together, and she had a substance abuse issue at that time. And we were walking out of my building where my practice was together. And she was a few steps ahead of me, and she realized I was behind her, and she stopped like right before she entered into the parking lot. And she turned to me and she said, "You want to know why I use the drugs?" And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because it makes me feel closer to God." And for me, this whole ideal of being closer to God, like I see presentness and mindfulness and conscious awareness as being connected to God. Like when you're present, you appreciate beauty. You appreciate all the God around you. So for her, The only way she was able to shut off her mind from the past trauma, the abuse, all of that stuff was using the drugs. And she was able to be present. And she didn't have to think about what happened to her. She didn't have to think about the pain and the deception and the, you know, self-denial that she's lived a lifetime doing. She was able to just be in that moment. So we have to recognize how even bad and maladaptive behaviors, again, are linked to our attempt to be present.
Wow. That was